Hello everybody and welcome back to our channel. Here we share beginner-friendly coding tutorials on Scratch, Roblox, Minecraft, web programming, and many more. Today we're going to create a movie slider web page. Here's a preview to the project we'll be making today. At the top left, we have the name of our website. On the right, we have our navigation bar. So you can see we have list, categories, series, anime, and search. And here we have the main project where we have a slider that shifts our movie pictures. And whenever we hover over one of the pictures, it tells us the title, some description, and a watch button. So let's get started. So for this project, we have provided a template for you to follow along. Here in templates, we have our basic logo where you can insert a picture for your movie slider if you want, and the name of our project, followed by a navigation bar containing start, categories, list, series, anime, and the search. And you can see it over here. These are the items in our list, and this will make up our navigation bar. So to start out with, let's insert some links inside of our categories. So we can add any categories as long as they're inside of this link. So we can just insert anything in here, and we can also include the link when we do have it. So here I've gone ahead and installed and inserted all the categories for this project. So here, as you can see, I've added animations, actions, and all of these categories inside of our links. And you can see it under here as well in our project preview. So now let's go down to our list and add our list. Here we want to add movie list, series list, and anime list. And that will be all the list inside of our list. And as you can see again, we have everything here. And now we can kind of ignore this part as it is the code for our search bar. And as you can see here, it ends our navigation bar and a header. And we move on to our slider, which is the main part of the project. So in our slider, we have a couple of things. So each movie is inside of slider, popular movies, and movie container. And with each movie, we have 3 different things we have to add. So the first thing is the movie image. And here we have left the image source for us to add our image. And here we have a movie title, which we should insert a movie title in, and a descriptions. Also, we can provide the link for the user to click on, and we have added the word watch so that you can click on the word watch and it will bring you to the sites where you can watch the movie. So once again, I've added the movies I wanted to add. So over here, if you look at the HTML, we can see that I've added a picture, the title, and a description for each movie. And there are a total of 10. So I've added Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 2, added Spider-Man, and many more. And again, you can follow the structure and add any movies you want. So you want to add the picture of the movie inside the source of image source, change the name of the title in the H2 tag, and under the paragraph, you want to add the description. And finally, when we look down, we have our footer. Here we don't have to change anything as this kind of just explains everything for us. And that will conclude our HTML section. So now as you can see in our preview, we have our pictures. But when we hover the picture, the name of the movie, description, and the button is not visible. So let's program our CSS to do that, as well as lining these up and making a slider. So the first thing we want to do is actually change the whole website and add some CSS to this. So to do this, we simply put a star, and anything inside the star will be applied to the whole web page. So here we want to allow some kind of border around our pictures and overall web page. So we do box sizing and we set it to border box. Next, we want to do the fonts. So we can change the font by writing font family. And we're just going to use um, Vitica as our fonts. And now we just want to set the default values for padding and margin to 0, just like so. Now let's do a CSS on our body. So let's type body. And inside of our body, what we want to do is set the background to black. So here we can do background. And we can simply use 000, and that will be black. And now we want to set the margin to automatic. Set the max width to 110%. And then change the width to 90%. Following that, let's do our links, paragraphs, and list options so that we can change the CSS for these links. So to do that, we can include links, paragraphs, and our list inside of the same CSS. So in here, we want to change the color, and we're going to change it to hash FFF, which will turn it white. Next, we want to change the style of the list, and we're going to change it to inside. That way we can't see the list until we hover over it. And then text declaration, we want to change it to 0 to remove the underlines. We want to change the Z index to 1 so that it is never behind the screen and behind some kind of pictures, and it will be the first thing that is popped up. And finally is increase the font size to 10 pixels. So here we can add individual properties to our links, paragraph, and our list. But we're only going to do that to the links so that we can actually personalize it. So the first thing we're going to do is do display to block. And then we're going to add some padding of 10 pixels and 15 pixels. So now you can see this is more spaced out. Next, let's go to our header and program our header. Inside of a header, we want to set the margin to auto and set the width to 100%. Now, let's style our border and our navigation bar. So let's do nav. And inside of our navigation bar, we want to type border bottom. We're going to type 1 pixel, solid, and add a color. And here we have picked out 21B7E5. Let's change display to flux. Do that. And let's set the display to flux and turn the justify content to space between. Just like so. And so you can see it'll push everything to the right side and add a line, a blue line at the bottom of our navigation bar. And now we want to do some kind of styling on the title of our screen. So let's do that. So we can access it by accessing the class in which we put it in, which is logo. Instead of logo, you can do the display, change it to table. And we can change the background. And we can say cornflower blue. Just like so. Next, let's style our navigation bar links so that they're not all, just scrolling down and, have a whole list of things. So to begin with, we shall do nav, and we're going to point to the unordered list. Here we want to set the display to inline flex, and then change the position into reflective or relative, and change the position to relative. And remember, this navigation consists of unordered list, but inside of each one are list. So let's style that individually. So we can do that by tapping into the unordered list to the list. Here we want a transition for all at 200 milliseconds. And we're going to add a webkit with transition. And again, we're going to do all at 200 milliseconds. And here our cursor should be the pointer, and display should be in the form of a table. So now we have styled this. Let's make it so when we hover it, it will actually show some colors. So here we can do nav, under the list, hover. And here we can change the background, once again, to cornflower blue. Awesome. So now we want to change the class inside of a genre, which is everything underneath our categories. So to do that, we do nav, under the list, and inside we want to select genres. And here we want to set the overflow to auto and the height to be 500 pixels. So now we have a cap and at 500 pixels, but when it overflows, it will automatically add scroll bar for us so we can scroll down. So now let's style the stuff in here. So to do that, we do nav, unordered list, and unordered list. Here we want to set the display to none and the position to absolute, just like so. And now you can see that things are hidden from us. So now we need a way to show it back. And to do that, we can do nav, unordered list, hover. And this is specifically for the unordered list, and then form, as well as form, because we want the search bar to appear as well. Here we're going to set display to block. We can set the background to black. And we can set the position to absolute. So now, as you can see, when we hover over the text of categories, the list of categories appears. Same with list and our search bar. So now let's actually do some CSS on the hover. So here we have a nav, unordered list, unordered list, and these are links. So we can say a/hover, and we can change the background color by doing background. And let's do the same colors before as 21B7E5. So as you can see, when we hover over these links, the blue background will show. Finally, let's change our search bar so that it will be relative and won't get pushed to the corner like it is right now. So to do that, we do .search. And we're just going to set the position to relative. Now, let's do our forms, which is where we are going to put in the text box. Let's do form. We're going to add a border at the top that's 1 pixel thick, solid. And once again, we want to add the same blue color, so 21B7E5. We want to set the position to absolute and add some padding. So we're going to add 10 pixels and 15 pixels. And now we're going to change the display to flux and add more padding to the right by 100 pixels. or negative 100 pixels. And we're going to add padding to the right with negative 100 pixels. Now let's program our slider. So we can do this by dot slider. And in here, we just want to add a margin of 10 pixels all around and the width of 95%. After that, we can edit the stuff inside of our slider. The first div we should style is movie container. So dot movie container. Inside here, we want to change the display to flux. Change the justify content to space between. And add the width to 1200 pixels. And as you can see, our website is coming along nicely. When we hover over our pictures, we now show the title, the paragraphs, and the button. So here we want the movie slider to slide whenever our mouse is not hovered over any pictures and stop the animation as soon as it is. So when we hover the picture, we want to stop the animation. So we need to add dot movie slash container and hover and dot image dash effect, just like so. And here we want to do animation play state to be paused. That way we can stop the animation. And now to add the actual animation for it to slide, we can use an animation provided by CSS. And we'll be adding this to the image effect. So we can go to image effect, animation dash play. And now we want to add the animation for the actual slider so that it will actually move and slide our pictures. And we'll do this in the image dash effect. So inside of our image dash effect, we can add an animation. And this animation would be called the movie slider. We want to add a 10-second duration. And we want to loop forever. And add alternate linear. And now we want to have overflow to be hidden. So we won't, the pictures won't go over our screens. And now here you can see our movie slider is actually a function that we need to add because we haven't declared an animation for that yet. And to do that, we use the keyword at keyframes, movie slider. And inside here, we want to add our animations. So at the start of the animation at 0%, we can add a margin of left of 0. And at 100%, we want to add the margin of left to be negative 100%. And again, at 0%, we want to add the margin to the right to be negative 100%. And at 100%, when the animation is done, we want to add the margin to the right to 0%. Just like that. So now you can see our movies are getting sliding. The final part of the project involves editing and styling more of our image effect and movie image. So here, let's go to image effect. And we're going to be targeting the image inside of image effect. Here, we want to add a transition. And we want to apply to all of them for 300 milliseconds. And we're going to add a webkit of transition as all with 300 milliseconds. So now, as you can see, we have our slider that shifts the movies. And as soon as we hover over any one of these, the animation stops, and it continues when we stop hovering over it. So that's all for today. Today we learned how to make a web page using HTML and CSS to shift our poster pictures across the screen, as well as using hover to show the details of the movie. Hope you guys enjoyed. Be sure to subscribe and like our video, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you. Bye bye.